Hey, welcome to Girl Talk with Virginia. We are still in this marathon. We are running strong, okay? This 40-day marathon, Girl Talk with Virginia, is going strong. Today is day number 11. I hope you have enjoyed days 1 through 10. If not, go back, like, share, comment, rewatch, connect. But today is a special episode because today we're going to be talking about how some things you could do so that you can calm down when life feel like it's an emergency. Because guess what? Life is not an emergency. I know it seems like it, especially when we are in crisis situations in the world or crisis situations in your life. Sometimes it just seems like everything has to be so rushed, it's so emergent, it's so go, go, go. I got to get it done to where it feels like your life is just on 1,000 all the time. Well, guess what? That is no way to function. Life is not an emergency. It is important, but life is not an emergency. The way that you can handle life as not being an emergency is that you have to know that life is a process. It's not jumping from here to there, from there to there, like an obstacle course, something like this marathon. But you do have to have a process. So life is not an emergency, but life is a process. So today on Girl Talk with Virginia, I'm going to give you some very key knowledge about how you can live your life as a process and not as an emergency. Are y'all ready to go for it? Right? So imagine yourself waking up every day. You wake up in the morning, right? You rush into, probably typically when you have to go to work, you wake up in a panic, rushing, because first of all, you don't want to get up, right? So then that's a struggle. That's an emergency situation where you have to make yourself get out of bed. And one of our episodes, we're going to talk about living life purposefully so that you can want to get out of the bed every morning. So stay tuned for that broadcast. But you wake up in the morning, you're rushing to get your clothes together, to get yourself together, to put on clothes, to grab some breakfast. Then you have to find all of your materials or equipment that you need for work. So you're rushing around the house. If you have kids, that's adding to the emergency equation because you have to get the kids ready, make sure they are on time, making sure they're doing everything they need to do. Then if you have a spouse, you have to make sure your spouse is on time for work or at work and has the lunch and the kids have the lunch. So it seems like you always are working on a lot of fuel with little engine, with a little engine. Or let me flip it like that. You're working with a big engine with little fuel, right? And so you're on 1,000, just running around doing everything. And guess what? Being inefficient at what you do, because at the end of the day, you're totally exhausted and you sit back if you have time to sit back, but then you're still in an emergency situation because you're feeling like you have gotten nothing done effectively by the end of the day. So you defeat yourself, you feel self-defeated, and it's just this whole cycle of when you live life like it's an emergency instead of living life on a process, then it runs you down, wears you out, and it takes away your sense of calm, and it's just a whole process that's just not healthy for anybody. So here are some key events. So first, let me ask you a question. Excuse me. Are you tired of feeling like you forgot to do something or that something wasn't done or did I get to do this? Did I pick this up? Are you tired of feeling like you always forgetting something or something wasn't done? Well, this will help you. This tip number 1. Life is not an emergency because first of all, it's a process and it becomes a process when you plan out your day. Sometimes people don't like planning out their day, right? Because it's one extra minute or step that they have to use throughout their day that they feel like they can be using to accomplish their task. But if you take your time out of the day and you plan out your day, you can do it one or two ways. Most people, the famous way for people to, the number one infamous way people like to plan out their day is that they like to do it before they go to bed at night. That way they can wake up and then, they can just start going based off of their plan. So you could plan at night before you go to sleep, or you could plan the first thing in the morning when you wake up, maybe when you're sitting down having a nice cup of coffee, just relaxing, start planning out your day and your tasks. You can just do little bullet points of what you want to get done that day, your goals, and you can even go so far if you very specific or like to be specific, then you can even put the times that you like to get things done. And it can go into from your routines at home into your routines at work and back into your routines when you're off of work. So planning out your day puts life at a calmer space where you know that there's a process. It's not an emergency. Everything doesn't have to be scattered. Everything has to be calm. It can be calm. Life can be a process and not an emergency. So by planning out your day, that's one tip. So what about this? Does your brain go like zoom, zoom, zoom all day? Like your brain never stops. It never stops thinking. It never stops working. Once again, on 1,000, right? Brain just always on go. Go, go, go. There's no pause. There's no stop. Do you feel like that? Because this next tip is going to be very instrumental in your life, making it into a process and not always an emergency. If you're the type of person where you feel like your brain never turns off and you're always going. So step number 2, to help with that zooming in the mind and zooming on task and zooming through life like it's an emergency. Step number 2, life is not an emergency when you make it a process by taking frequent breaks. That's right. Take frequent breaks. Taking a break doesn't mean that you're going to lose time or lose steps on whatever your goal is for the day. Frequent breaks are important because if you take a break from what you're doing, the rush of the day or the task of the day, it gives your mind time to refresh and reboot so that when you go back into your task that you were doing, your mind has more room to function and more room to flow versus being cramped. When your mind is cramped because you're overflowing and overloading it doesn't have room to breathe and to function efficiently. It's not able to flow. So it's just cramped. And so that's where that tension comes from all day, because your brain is tense because it's overloaded. But when you take a break, you release the tension and give your brain some room so they can flow more efficiently. See, this is efficiently functioning brain or task when it just flows in synchrony. But when you tensed up and pressured because you live in life on an emergency instead of living life with a process, then you live life cramped up and you deny yourself the ability to function and calm all day, right? This is some great stuff, right? Give me a comment, a thumbs up, a like, a share if this information is being useful, because I know a lot of people live life like it's an emergency. But I'm telling you, this process, these 3 tips that I'm giving you today will help you live more calmly and more step by step and more methodically, more strategically, to let you know and make you feel like you have control over your day instead of your day just running all over you, right? So tip number 1, life not an emergency, plan out your day. Number 2, take frequent breaks. And number 3, but wait a minute, I bet you're too hard on yourself, right? With this emergency thing, because a lot of times that's why people have these emergency things, because you're too hard on yourself. Tip number 3 is going to help you know that you do not have to be hard on yourself. Life is not an emergency. Life is important. So work it as a process. Number 3, stop being so hard on yourself. Life is not an emergency. It's a process by giving yourself space for error. You're human. You're not perfect. You're close to perfect, but you're not perfect. You're human, which means you will have error. Anybody who is a human being, you're a professional, you have kids, a life, family, a career, you will have error because that's just normal human behavior. So the tip for that is to give yourself space for error. How do you do that? Go back to number 2. In those frequent breaks, give yourself calculation time for if you didn't finish a task on time, then that space that you give yourself for error, you can use that space to go back and finish something that went over time because, you either had an issue, which is life, or something else came up to where it put that task on the back burner, and now you need extra space or extra room or extra time to finish that space. So you have to calculate, which is part of that planning your day and taking frequent breaks. You have to calculate in space for error. It sounds easier said than done, but trust me, it is a plan that will work if you calculate room for error. Sometimes it could be a whole day. Like if you're the type of person where you plan out your whole week or month, then you can strategically put in one day of the week. I call it a fluff day, where either you can use it to relax, to catch up on your frequent breaks, or you can use it to take time to plan out your day, or use half and half, or 1/3 and 1/3. Or you can use the rest of the day to catch up on some things that you did throughout the week that you didn't finish, or that you think needed some extra touch-ups, or anything else. You have to plan those days in. And it's okay to have that fluff day because it serves several purposes. It gives you time to plan out your day without feeling rushed. It gives you time to calculate in one of your frequent breaks. And also it gives you time to give yourself space so that you can correct or catch up on any errors you had throughout the week, right? That's awesome. I know y'all getting some good nuggets out of this, like to take into your work week tomorrow, right? Your work day tomorrow, or the whole work week. These tips work. So if you would just take the time and implement this into your life where everything is seeming like it's an emergency, and start functioning like your life is a process, things will be a lot more smooth. You will be under less frustration, less overwhelm, less worries and doubts and fears, and you will be able to live your life more in a state of calm, right? That is the key, is to live your life in a state of calm. That is the living life on your terms, right? As a professional woman, you should live life on your terms. And when you're able to live life as it is not an emergency, and put it into a process, you are living life on your terms. You are creating your calm, and you're making sure that you get things done strategically, effectively, because you learn how to live life as a process and not as an emergency. Oh, that's good. Give me some thumbs up, some comments, connect with me, like, share, rewatch, take notes, and put these actions into place. These are some real life actions for real professional women. You need this stuff. All right. If you want to continue prospering under pressure, you need to have all of the processes, tips, tools, and everything you need to make sure you live your life on your terms. And life on your terms, for sure, one of them is to live life calm. To be successful, but do it in calm, which requires life being a process, putting life into a process. Okay, so I want you to feel free to send me any type of questions, comments, anything that you need. Actually, I want you to send me some topics too. I have a lot of people who've been sending me some topics, but I want topics because I want this time of Girl Talk with Virginia to be specifically geared towards helping you prospering under pressure. Okay, so I think today was very awesome about living life in a process and not as an emergency. As a review, plan out your day. That is very important, to plan out your day. You need to know what you're going to do step by step. That way everything won't seem like so emergent. Number 2, take frequent breaks. Give your mind time to de-stress, debrief. Give your body time to de-stress and debrief, so that every time you go into a new task or back into an old task, you're flowing efficiently and you're not cramped up. Okay. And number 3, give yourself space for error. It's okay to need time to catch up, but if you don't calculate that time in, then everything is still going to be such an emergency and a rush because you haven't allowed space to catch up or to correct any errors. So then you're in a crunch. And I want you to remember that the pressures of life mold your comeback. So don't feel like because you have pressures as a professional woman that you're not on track. Life is about pressures. Anything you try to do efficiently, effectively, and successfully will come with pressures. But the good news is that you can prosper under your pressures and put tips and tools and strategies and processes in place to where your pressures are calm, efficient, and you can always get to your next level. No matter if you're going from 0 to 1, 3 to 4, 9.9 to 10, or from 10 to 20. Whatever level you on right now, you always want to go above and beyond and continue to strive for excellence and prosperity at whatever level you at. So I also want you to remember to like, share, comment, rewatch, connect with Prosper Under Pressure on Instagram and Facebook, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, which has more tips, tools, and inspiration, motivation, connection about how to prosper under pressure. We could do this together, a community of professional women. Girl Talk with Virginia is one component. This 40-day marathon has been like off the charts. It has been inspirational, motivational. I hope you're getting a lot of information from it. And remember, the pressures of life mold your comeback. We want you to prosper forever, ever. And I hope you enjoyed this episode of Girl Talk with Virginia. Remember to prosper under pressure, create your calm. You are in control of the pressures that come to you in life. I want you to have a great day. See you tomorrow for episode number 12 of Prosper Under Pressure, Girl Talk with Virginia. Episode number 12, where we will be diving into how to find the good situation in bad situations, right? That's a topic. That's a special request, actually. Somebody sent me that topic. How do I find the good out of the bad? How do I prosper under pressure? How do I find the prosperity in my pressures? So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. Tune in. It will be one of the regularly scheduled Girl Talks on Monday at 1 p.m. And then we have the Girl Talk Marathon every morning for 40 days. See you next time. Thank you for tuning in to Girl Talk with Virginia, and peace out. Have a blessed day.